First story. My best friend stole my abortion pill, then publicly called me a murderer. My best friend Sarah and I had been friends since she was a freshman and I was a sophomore at our college, about 2 years since I met her. We were assigned to be roommates and got along great and decided to room together for the next year, my junior year. We never had any problems before this and were inseparable. We are even in the same sorority and have the same major, nursing. A few weeks ago, I found out I was pregnant by my boyfriend Harold, 22M. We've been dating 1.5 years and he's a wonderful man. We both discussed what to do and decided that abortion was the best choice for both of us. I decided to have a medical abortion, and since Harold couldn't drive me to the clinic because he had a final, Sarah agreed to go with me. Sarah was originally very supportive and held my hand as I took the first pill in the office. She was in the room when the doctor explained that I should take the second pill after 24 hours and that I would have to do it at home. Harold came over after his final and kept me company and spent the night. After a night of cramping and bleeding, I woke up yesterday morning to find that the second pill was missing from its pack. I put the pill on my nightstand so that I wouldn't lose it. The pack was still there, but the pill was missing. Sarah is the only one with access to my room. We have separate rooms, but share everything else. I asked Harold if he had messed with the pill, and he said no. Why would he if he doesn't want this child any more than I do? So that left Sarah as a suspect. So I waited until she woke up to ask her about it. That's when she flipped her shit. She started screaming at me how I was a baby killer and that she hopes I bleed out from the abortion. Then she told me that she had a dream that my child would grow up to cure Ebola, I could not make this up, and that she threw away my pill to protect my child, as well as the extra birth control packs I'd gotten from the school nurse to last over the summer. She took photos and uploaded them to Facebook with the caption, "OP is a baby-killing whore who can't keep her legs shut." Luckily, all of her friends and our sorority sisters instantly defended me and told her how crazy she was. Reddit, I'm stuck in the same room as her for all of our summer classes, which will last until July. We are in the same sorority and will have to see each other twice a week until I graduate. Is there anything I can do legally? Is what she posted online illegal? She is a nursing major in clinicals. I'm so fucking confused. TLDR, went for a medical abortion, roommate flipped her shit and threw away my medication. We have to live together for the better part of the summer. Edit, I'm cross-posting this to R/2X chromosomes. I've already gotten another pill. Second edit, sorority just texted me. The last meeting of the year will be concerning Sarah's violation of the sorority code of conduct. Apparently, this is not the first time this has happened. Majority vote decides on whether she's kicked out or not. Edit 3. I tried to update in another post, but the mods say I have to wait 48 hours as per the new rule, so you all will have to wait. Update. A lot of people asked me to update what happened, so here it is. The mods originally removed this update due to the 48-hour update rule, but enough people asked for me to post this that I will, and then I can finally delete this account. This is a direct copy-paste from the removed update, and none of the major details have changed so far. Still no word from Sarah about this. Edit. A lot of you think that I was too extreme, but there was nothing I could have done to make her get help. I miss my best friend more than any of you critics could ever realize. Don't judge me for doing what was best for everyone involved, including myself. Her right to sympathy ended when she deliberately chose to steal from me, slander my name, destroy my laptop and possessions, and when she refused help from everyone who tried to help. Original. I will try to make this as clear as possible, even though I'm typing it during a work break. Immediately after I posted on Reddit, a lot of you had the same advice to report her to the nursing board, residence life, the nursing department at our college, to the police, to the sorority, and to her parents. I decided to report her to all of the above while hiding at the sorority house. Early yesterday morning was when Sarah made her Facebook post about me, and it took only until after lunch for my sorority sisters to start texting me like mad. This was not the first time that Sarah had shamed another sorority sister for having an abortion, and that particular woman, we will call her Emily, was one of the highest ranking members. Emily was the one who called the meeting to have Sarah kicked out for breach of the code of conduct. Treat all your sisters kindly, support one another, no gossiping, etc. Meanwhile, residence life was busy trying to contact Sarah's parents after I showed them her Facebook rants. After the sorority contacted Sarah, she flipped out yet again on Facebook and started to rant about how she wanted to die. The RA on duty, also one of my good friends, had decided to go speak to her to see if they could help. At this point, it was clear to everyone that Sarah was not right in the head because she was screaming at her through the door crack. Sarah refused to answer the door, so the RA decided to escalate it higher, and no one saw Sarah until the sorority meeting. The sorority meeting. At the meeting, everything seemed to be okay. Sarah was the last person to arrive, and she just took her seat and acted normal. It was eerie to see her gush over everyone only hours after she pulled her stunt. Only about half of the sorority was present, but the president decided to proceed regardless. It only took 2 minutes for us to vote unanimously to kick her out. Emily sat next to me the whole time. To put it mildly, Sarah did not take this well. She turned bright red, spit on the ground in front of Emily and me and ran out of the room screaming. We called campus police on her as she left. After the meeting, Sarah returned to our dorm room. The Res Life administrator tried to speak to her, but she refused to answer the door for over 20 minutes. They had to call the police to kick down the door because she was holding the handle on the inside so they couldn't unlock the door. The police showed up, kicked down the door, and found the dorm destroyed. All the furniture had been smashed or scratched if it was too heavy. The carpets were covered in food from the refrigerator, and she had painted random swear words on the wall in what looks like blood, but she had no scratches on her, so who knows where the blood came from. The found photos of Harold covered in lipstick in her purse. This wasn't like a kiss mark from lipstick, but more like she used a lipstick to entirely cover Harold's face like a crayon. She resisted the police trying to peacefully convince her to accompany them to the hospital. Sarah was taken to the hospital and charged. I'm not sure what the exact charges were, but I am aware that it includes unlawful possession of prescription medication because they found my pills in her purse and they had my name on the labels. She is still in the hospital today undergoing a psych evaluation. The hospital. Sarah and I were both interns working for the hospital that operates the pregnancy clinic. I reported her to HR for theft, harassment, and privacy violations, along with giving them screenshots from Facebook. As of this morning, Sarah did not turn up for work, so she was terminated for no call, no show. HR had me in their office for an hour this morning asking if I would like to press for a HIPAA investigation. It turns out that some of her Facebook rants had information that could only be obtained through patient records. I have no idea what information it was, since it was the HR lady who found it. I said yes, because there's no way it would hurt for Sarah to be investigated. HR also notified the nursing board and the nursing department at my college independently of my reports. So I think that's pretty much everything. Sarah has been arrested and charged, kicked from the sorority, fired from her job, kicked out of the dorms, and numerous reports were made to the proper authorities. I still care for Sarah with all of my heart because I realize that she is severely mentally ill. I will always blame her for what she did to me, but I know that it wasn't the best friend that I knew for all those years. It was a different person who did that to me. I am feeling physically fine after all of this. Harold and I are talking about getting an apartment off campus together. If that doesn't work out, I will stay in the sorority house. Sarah's parents have promised to pay me back for the abortion costs, $400, because they know I didn't do anything wrong. I'm grateful that I have their support. Second story. Falsely accused by my girlfriend's son. Now she wants me back. What should I do? I know that's a hell of a title, but it's been a hell of a situation. And I know a friend gets great advice on here, so I've decided to see if I get the same. Basically, we have been together over a year and a half, and we were going great. She has a son from a previous relationship who I've not only met, but was fond of. I wouldn't say stepdad material by any means, but we had a little friendship going. The dad's in and out of prison and the kid's life, so I'm the only guy like that he's had in his life that fulfills any real decent male role model figure. Me and her were even talking about living together too. A few weeks ago, I get a visit from the police and they arrest me for sexually assaulting her son. I'd been bailed on condition I wouldn't go near them, and as a result, I'd been placed on gardening leave at work. Last week, I got a letter saying the case had been dropped and I don't any longer have to attend my next bail hearing. That was it. I rang the policeman in charge of the investigation, and at the time, he said he couldn't comment too much as there was still an active investigation, but basically her son confessed he had made it up and I'm innocent. To say I was mad, shocked, confused was an understatement. Basically, a couple of days later, I'd had one drink too much and rang her to confront her. She answered, all apologetic, and explained that this little fucking nephew of hers, 12M, I've always hated this kid when I've met him. He's so disrespectful and always getting into trouble at school and into fights, etc. Did it to her son at this party they went to a few days before I was arrested, and when her son confessed someone had touched him, he panicked and said it was me instead of his cousin. I guess him being questioned by the police scared him, so he had told the truth. I was so disgusted and just hung up on her, deleted my social media too so I don't have to have anything to do with them. She's been ringing me since, texting me, emailing me, and is collectively saying even though she's so sorry that she put me through all this, she can't be too sorry as I wanted to protect her son, but she really wants us to get back to where we were again. And her son misses me too and has been crying saying he's hurt me. She said this can make us stronger and we can have a good future. I've not answered at all. I've got nothing to say. I'm thinking of ghosting her. I can't lie and say I don't have love for her or her son, but if I'm honest, I'm way too hurt. I'd always know she once thought I did something so unspeakable to her son, and I'll also never be able to forget that his lies, no matter the reason, could have wrecked my life, and I'd never want the risk of running into her nephew again. I never ever want anything to do with him again. What should I do, Reddit? Do I have any way of fighting what seems like an up-and-coming dismissal? Hi all, I'm in England. So basically, I was recently arrested for being accused of sexually assault of my GF's son. Subsequently, all charges against me have been dropped when I received a letter from the police confirming charges have been dropped, and I don't have to go back for any bail hearings, as I have discovered unofficially since. Her son admitted admitted it was another family member who assaulted him. At the start, when I was first arrested, I was put on gardening leave at work. I've been there just over 5 years. Once I received the letter, I gave it to my employer, and my boss has scheduled a meeting for this Monday with him, regional managers, and HR to determine if I still have a job. Basically, their argument is that even though I am no longer facing any charges, my accusation leave had leaked out online, and they say that it may hurt their reputation having me as an employee, and I no longer have the support of my colleagues, which they need to consider if it's going to affect the business long term. As it is, several colleagues have removed me from social media. In recent days, I've come off anyway, but this was before, and have been ghosting me socially. Do I have any recourse? I really don't want to lose my job. My money's really good, and I have a lot of perks, company car, phone allowance, etc. And not only that, I've worked really hard to get where I am. If I lose my job, there's a really good chance eventually I wouldn't be able to afford my mortgage and I'd have to sell my house. If I do lose my job, I have no idea what sort of reference I'd get and would hate to have to start again from scratch elsewhere or in a job in minimum wage. What can I do? Update. I want to thank you all your advice, well wishes, and criticism. This is an update on 2 fronts. Firstly, I met up with my girlfriend. She rang me and I answered and asked if we could meet Sunday night. Normally I'd not answer, but because she had it from a withheld number and I was pissed, I said, yeah, all right. When she came around, I was all set to be guns blazing and tell her to fuck off. But when I saw her, I felt all emotional and broke down. She did too. We hugged really well and she kept on saying how awful I looked and how much weight I'd lost. She apologized and kept apologizing profusely. She said she had to report me on the basis that her son looked so in distress and she couldn't not report it as a mother. But she said she, in hindsight, knew I wouldn't be capable of what he said I did, and she hasn't been sleeping or thinking straight of what I could be going through. Apparently, once her so admitted to the police it wasn't me and it was his cousin, the police got a confession out if her nephew and he said he was molested himself, so he was only doing what happened to him. I couldn't try and be all nice and understanding, and I said I couldn't give a fuck. She seemed quite stunned by this, but as she could see I was really distressed, she didn't argue the point. Basically, she said she wanted to know where we go from here, and that she loved me so much, and that she wanted to know if I could move on from it. She also had a letter from her son. Basically, he's been really poorly, and he was so upset about what he said I did and asked if I'd read it. I don't know what happened at this point, but I got really angry. I said I couldn't read his letter. She got all pissed and said that he's only a kid and he's been struggling so much. Did our little relationship mean so little to me? I felt so fucking blindsided and said that it wasn't my fault he accused me of being a pedo. After a lot of arguing, raised voices, and hurt feelings, I said I'd take the letter but couldn't promise I'd want to reply. I mean, his accusation is going to likely ruin my career. She said she was done at this point, but stressed how much she loved me and asked if I could ever forgive them. I said I couldn't promise. She also felt awful that I was likely losing my job the next day. We hugged it out, kissed, and left it there. On the subject of my work, it's bittersweet. I arrived there for my meeting and briefly seeing my colleagues, they were treating me like shit. One woman who's been like my work mom and mentor was looking down her nose instantly. I tried to talk to her and she just walked off mid-conversation. Several others were all looking at me as if I'm the worst human being ever. When I got into the meeting, it looked as if I was just going to be sacked and that was it. But I'm a pretty good negotiator and I managed to beat them back to being not to blame at all. Basically, we argue a deal where I resign, but they agree to give me a great reference. They also pay me in full for September, October, and give me a 1,000 pound car bonus so I can buy myself a car. I'm due to go in and formally accept this Thursday. It's horrible because I've had to resign after 5 weeks of hard work and training and cut ties with a place where I really gave it my all and I felt like I had a future. All because I've done nothing wrong. TLDR, me and my partner have talked, we're not in a good place, and I'm out my job but have a decent reference. Update 2. So in response to my last post, I basically decided I wasn't going to take it lying down and accept their proposal. I messaged my MD ahead of time and told him I thought he should be there in the meeting. Me and him always got on well. Long story short, I told him I was taking legal advice and was looking at my local employment law specialist, and he claimed the regional bosses and HR kept him in the dark. Funny that, isn't it? And he said he was going to be in the meeting. When we got there, he was extremely apologetic and said he was going to deal with them personally. They all looked really sheepish. Basically, we worked out a deal. As a settlement, a full 5 months salary on top of my current month, 3,000 pound car settlement, and my usual 5% bonus of my salary. And they'll write me a glowing personal reference. Honestly, I was going to look into prosecuting them, but I just wanted to be over, so I accepted. Hopefully, I can move on professionally. On the subject of my now ex, I decided to read the little boy's letter. It was more of S note, but it basically said, "Dear XXXX, I'm sorry, I love you. You're my best friend," or something like that. If I was a cold person, I'd not feel bad. I'm not at all, and I hadn't drunk for a couple of days, so I sent him a note in the post too. Basically, I said in it I was sorry for what happened to him, and I hope he could forgive himself in time. And also, I hoped life would be kind to him. I also rang my now ex and said I wanted a clean break and I was ending it. She was was really crying and said she was sorry. I said I forgave her and acknowledged she did what she had to do. She said she truly loved me and would have carried on with me if I wanted to. I ended it there. My cousin who I looked at staying with is on holiday, so I have booked 3 weeks holiday in Inverness from Monday and I'm going camping. Hopefully, I can make a clean break. TLDR, me and my ex cleared things up and I ended it. I wrote to her son. Also, I got a better settlement out of my work. Final update. Okay, I realize that the above didn't get that many commenters, but my original posts, feel free to check out my profile for context, I made still get so many people messaging me asking what's happened. I thought I'd post an update here. I was going to just block her and go away, but a commenter on my last post said she may misconstrue that my taking time away meant only a temporary break from her, and I was leaving the door open to reconcile, which I didn't want to do. Despite all what went on, I still care for her and didn't want her to suffer. I went around her house to tell her in person. I basically said I needed to end it and cut all contact indefinitely because of all that's gone on, and that I could forgive them but never forget what they did. She apologized again and said she still loves me, and did I love them? I said no, and she went hysterical, so I left. I blocked her on everything, deleted my social media, and went on my holiday to Scotland. I was only supposed to be there for 3 weeks, but I stayed nearly 4 and only got back yesterday. My friend who knows us spoke to me today and said my ex has been shit talking about me, saying on her Facebook especially that I've abandoned her and her son, etc. I don't care. I'm looking to move anyway and start afresh, so I don't care at this stage.